How do we look at life? How do we perceive life? Kind of like life is like magic. Try to understand every time you get up in the morning, you ask yourself, where are you? What are you doing? How are you bettering yourself? So I had a long, interesting conversation. It's amazing how the mind doesn't sleep, but it knows exactly what it's doing every single day. So it's all about thinking of an inner voice, the computer line center communicating with you every single day through track systems. It's incredible how we come into these positions. I went into another time lock last night, which is understanding why I'm in this position is to show you how powerful it is when you guys go into your positions. These are the things that happen to me. So it's all about understanding. So I get the information out so I know exactly what's happening with you so I can give back its detail on everything that's happening right now because we're coming into dream sets of back connections of a new cycle, okay, to a line system. So that's what's happening right now with your dreams and your communications and your cycles and all rotations. Very powerful. You come into the the YouTube Communication Center into line system. Try to understand the connections of what's happening right now. Also, too, with Space-Time Creator, where the person is just sitting there and they can see the flakes, they can see the connections, they can see the depression, they can see the anxiety. So all those cycles and all that connection is servicing off. Okay, it's like an energy wash, like I said. So it's all about that negative cycle, leaving the system, coming into new communication of dreams, because it's all connected to your perceivers and cortex and your precortex line system. So I also did a TikTok video just now recently. It's about 15 seconds. It talks about tarot cards, also too about meditation and how we come across our emotions, right, and how we see ourselves every day through our thoughts. It's important you understand how to connect to these forms. So I really want to get into more of the meditation tools and how you can actually communicate with your body. I think that's what people really need to learn because I was interested because somebody came across that. I said, why don't you use some meditation skill sets for everybody at their level? And these are the things I can do right now. But everything that happens every single day is all through computer sets. It's all set up for everybody, right? It's amazing how I come across these things. I have to experience these things, okay? So you understand, so how you can experience your own things when it comes up to all this system because you have your day, okay? You have your afternoon and you have your night. Now, what do you do within those days, afternoon, and nights? You got to ask yourself, it's all connected to your emotions of your thoughts. It's all connected to your dreams. Now, your dreams come into observation and what you do every single day, 7 days a week, 24/7. That's what we live. That's the existence that we live every single day. But you have to understand how to use those emotions to its communication. So when I sleep, I'm not sleeping, which is very powerful because the mind stays open and I got this communication line signal that's coming into so many computer graph line systems. See, did you see the solar graph? I say solar graph, boom. I was communicating with Leela and I told her to eat. She goes over and eats. So my voicing, my communication is getting extremely loud through positions. So it comes into line connections of all different line systems in the mind through its brainwave and pattern and how we come into this one line system. It's incredible how we come into these connections and it's all connected to your dream sets. You have to understand what you're dreaming. You have to understand your decipherings of your dreams. These are things that you have to come across because it's extremely important, right? It's important for everybody to understand these things, especially when you get up in the morning, right? Now, when you go to bed, what happens, right? Your mind opens automatically. It opens automatically, okay? And if you're aware of that, it's great. But see, when you close your eyes, perfect example. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get into the meditation tips. Now, truly understanding when I'm closing my eyes, I'm seeing color. And if I'm going to see color, I'm going to see everything around its color. And then I'm going to see everything around its shape of its color. So I'm always, always, always moving forward, right? So now the color's coming in. And now I see myself on the other side because my eyes are open, but you see my eyes closed on the physical system, right? So if I want to hear space, remember, it's all the senses that you connect with. If I want to hear space, I just open my ears. It's very easy to do that. That sound is space. So now you have space, you have the sound of space, and now you can feel space, and now you can taste space, and now you can touch space. So it's all your senses that you open up. Now my eyes are constantly closed, right? So it's truly understanding what's happening through that connections and how you keep high rising to its position, to its chakra system, it's important to understand how to communicate with your chakras. Now, I had my eyes closed for about 2 minutes. Now, it's all about understanding these things. So we all start out with what? Communication on the other side, right? So hopefully these meditation tips will help you a lot better on how you can get into your form positions, into communication, to its dimension, to its traction, to line systems, to all levels of your soul, right? So you should be able to hear more and more. Okay, you close your eyes. All right, now you're on the other side. Okay, so create a shape. Okay, now create a box of a shape. Now create a color of a shape. Now create a point center. A point center is a location line signal. So the reason I'm closing my eyes is so you guys can start off first like this. Okay, it's very hard to meditate with your eyes open because you're not communicating to the other side system. That's what meditation is you start off closing your eyes. And a lot of people go into their light languages. Okay, they come into different volumes. They come into those bowls, right? So everything is light language, but you have to understand how to communicate through the measures and making sure that the vibration is the same connection to the soul. The soul has to reach the same vibration to the physical line system. And this is all connected to the precortex and its cortex line system, which is connected to the spine. Okay, so as long as you understand how to use these things all in application of its operation, you'll have no problem meditating with that system. But you all have to understand how you have to get into the other side. You have to get into the other side of its dimension. So you have to jump over, right? So when I close my eyes, I'm already seeing myself on the other side, and it's waving at me. That's how powerful you are through the mind. So when you do that, then you open your ears. That's space. Okay, remember I was saying you take your fingers and you plug it in? Same thing, but just close your eyes, open your ears. Okay? So it's all about opening your senses to communication and actually seeing what's going on with the soul. The soul is there for you, just like the universe is there for you. Okay? Because you guys are one track line in one universe. Okay? I'm all track lines of all universes, of all space and time that travel through computers. So when I close my eyes, I see everything that's created on that day. Okay. Now it could be in the past, it could be in the present, or it could be in the future. It could be anything through reflection or anything that connections. But truly understand when you close your eyes, you should be able to see space on the other side. So when you're seeing space, my eyes are closed, right? So this is where it's interesting. My eyes are closed. Okay. You see it in the physical system, but I see the integration of two into one. So there's no separation with the body system, okay? So now I'm seeing color. Now I'm creating a shape. Now the shape is coming into its connection. The soul is going through the connections of its shape, okay? Now it's moving across and it's going through a circle of a shape, okay? Now it's structurally lines and it's going to a planet. Now it's scanning the planet on the other side of Mercury. Now it's connected to Saturn. Now it's surfacing down to locations. Now I'm in a teleportation of a UFO position. That's how powerful you can see things on the other side. So it comes into a frame. So it's like you're sitting down and seeing yourself, which is the integration of the soul, into a projection of a film. It's a movie, but it's real. So the mind is going into the 8-line center of communication. It graphs its system to communication line systems. So when you close your eyes, you automatically see what's going on through its frame because it's going in its connections. And the soul is telling you if it's in its past, present, and its future. The frame opens up, which is very, very real. Now, everything in the past is just a reflection. Everything in the present is the now. And everything through the thought of connection is all about you manifesting things into the presence of its future. So when I'm seeing my soul, it's telling me exactly where I am. Now, when you come into your positions, you come into your own line system. Now, you never see your commander close his eyes this long, but to truly understand why we do these things. Same with Bashar. Okay. So it's about understanding what you're doing through your connections. It's much easier when you close your eyes because you can see a lot more, but you have to get it to higher levels to open up your eyes so you can see more than just what you see. And everything that's seen becomes its believing. And that's why it's extremely powerful, that connections. Okay. So you're opening up to your frame. You're opening up to your projection and what you want to see through your thoughts. And you're creating these things as you go, second by second. Okay. That connections, right? There's hour, minutes, and days in that connections, seconds, minutes, millimeter of a second. So what you're doing when you're closing your eyes, you're living the existence of the soul, which is you. Okay. The physical system just has to understand these things of what it's seeing through its brain and its digital line system. Okay. It's understanding all communications at that point system. Now I'm opening electrical doors on dimensional time through galactic line systems. Now I'm changing computer positions. See, the thing is, when I communicate with my soul, I don't have to communicate because it's already there in the future. So what it is already integrated into two into one, right? And the one becomes nothing because everything to that connection is everything through energy and form. So you come into the highest level, which is the simulation, which means that you disappear, but you're still there in that connections. So you're living your reality of its virtual reality system, but you're not there. You're just everything through a hologram. To everybody, to that connections, to me, I'm just a hologram to you. So when I close my eyes, I know exactly where I am in space and time division to its location. So it's important you guys get into that connections. You should be able to close your eyes and talk at the same time. That's the integration cycle. So when I'm communicating with my system, I'm communicating to my soul. There's no separation there, okay? It has a flow technique. And when you get into your breathing, you're changing your colors. So if you want to change your colors, this is a good example. Get into the grounds, okay, and then work up to your roots. So try to understand when you close your eyes, you see different colors, right? So you come into your breathings, okay? And then you see the third eye realm, and then you see this shape. And now the picture's coming into frame, okay? So it's all about understanding what you're seeing every second per second on each day, on each level, 7 days a week, 24/7, okay? Now everything is coming into one compilation, one center line system. Now I'm seeing everything in that size of the graphing line system. Your correlation system is everything through a dream of its connections. So when you do, this is to understand where dreaming comes in. It comes into the mantras. It comes into the Buddha. It comes into the Dalai Lama. And guess what? My eyes are still closed. So I'm showing you how powerful it is where you can have your eyes closed to start off. That's the birth line system. But when you go up to higher levels, you can open up your eyes and see everything. So you don't have to close your eyes because your eyes are already open on the other side. So that's a true understanding how you get into these positions. Okay. So the next thing is all about understanding how to communicate to the body. So again, I'm going to keep my eyes closed again so you get a better understanding. You get into your breathing, right? You just, so you're breathing and you're thinking of a color. You're thinking of a shape of a color. Now you're thinking of a shape of a frame of a color. Now you're thinking of a shape of a frame of a color. And now you're seeing a connection. Okay. So the soul's coming to you right now through connections, and you actually see the other side position. It's the dimensional side. It's like mirrors are portals. So it's a mirror of you on the other side. So when you wake up in the morning and you're looking at the mirror, that's you on the other side of its reflection, looking at you. But you're doing the same movements. But what you don't understand is that is your soul. That is your reflection. Now, when you blow it up through connections and zoom it in, you actually see more because you see it's grain, right? That's a simulation. Those are the pixels. AI identifies everything close up, and that's how you see everything because it starts moving. I showed you already with the mirror at nighttime. Turn off the lights, you saw the UFO come out of my mirror, right? Mirrors are portals. It's the same thing with tarot cards, okay? They're portals of dimension, and they're all connected to you inside. So when you close your eyes, you're already on the other side of space. And when you open your eyes on the other side, so this is where it gets tricky. Okay, so I can't see anything. I don't know what's going on, right? Because you're not opening the mind. Opening the mind is not just opening the mind through seeing. Opening the mind is seeing everything, what you want to see through thought. So when you close your eyes, create something. Just say something. Just say activation light centers are coming into location. Done. That's it. It's already done because I created it. When I close my eyes, it activates right away because the soul recognizes your physical system and integration. It centralizes its connection to high purpose to that line system. It's a purpose value that you understand. It's the value of its continuous force. It's the continuous force to its line system to understand how to use your thoughts through shapes, colors, lights, and I think that track system, your structural line system to its connections. Okay. So the reason why I'm closing my eyes is to understand that my eyes are open on the other side, right? And when you go like this, you can move your eyes around, you can open your eyes, and you can see laser directions on both sides. It's the peripheral vision you see on the dimensional line system. Because when you cross over, you are now in the soul of its dimensions. Now, say I want to go to 20,000 years in the future, line signal rotation back in the present line system. So I go into 20,000 years back in location, set up a box line system, change a triangle line system, put a dimensional line system, boxes level connection, bring next T1000 to its tunnel line connection. Done through equation, all done through thought. That's how fast the mind can go. But the mind can go faster. If it goes faster, now you're in your computers. And so it's going. So it's all about understanding what you're doing when you're closing your eyes. You should already have the image of your thought already created through color. And that's what you do with the chakra systems. This is how you go into the research. So when you communicate with your body, it's already done through its equation. Your thoughts are already connected to its manifestation. So you're already creating these things. So when you close your eyes, open your ears. That's sound. So you have to open up all your senses. All your senses. Know that you're on the other side already. But if you find yourself too much in the physical line system, you're not communicating to your soul now. Okay? So it's very important, very, very important that when you close your eyes, you have to learn how to open your eyes on the other side. Okay? So my eyes are closed, yes. But the mind is awake. So the mind is trying to understand you through its dream awakening, through its astral travel, or anything provision, trying to understand that connections. So now I'm thinking yellow. Just think in the color yellow. Yellow comes in. Yellow is there. So it's again with mind telepathy. When somebody shows a card up, or when somebody shows a color, basically it shows its frame. So it's the eye division line system of the soul sees the picture of the person that's showing the color, and they say yellow, oh, green, oh, blue. And you come in that positions. And then you start understanding where you can actually look at a book and you actually can read it in scripture. You can actually read it through frame. So this is where it comes into the clarity of its veil and relieves the filters. So it comes into its own projection of the presence of the here and now connections. So think of it this. When your eyes are constantly closed, this is what I want everybody to do, okay? I want you to just sit there or stand there, okay? Try to walk 50 feet with your eyes closed. See if you can bring your connections. First, open your eyes, see the structure of your light system, close your eyes, see if they're illuminated to that connections. You know exactly, touching this, touching that, trying to feel this, trying to feel that. It's opening up all your senses, and then you start seeing color. And then you start opening up what your room looks like. So it's all about understanding where are you in your thought. Okay, so you close your eyes and now you have your thought. It's structuring its connections. You come in a digital line system. Now it's in its planet location. Now I create things extremely fast, as you can see. But when I close my eyes, it's fantastic because I already see myself on the other side. So when you come into that body adaptation, you're coming into communication of vibration. Okay, so on a line signal, my body track line system, I want to react to my reactor line connections. I want to intercharge its connection position. So I'm telling my soul what to do. What to do. So you are now controlling your soul. The soul is not controlling you. So once you have full control, you're no longer in two. Now you're in one. And that one becomes a complete cycle. Okay? So we're in that position right now where humanity is kind of understanding its position of its dream connections. We're coming into a formation of a line system. Now you kind of find it strange when I close my eyes. Even though I close my eyes, I already see everybody. So that's amazing how you come into tracks of colors and lights and why we have to use our senses. Because even though this is closed, this is open. right? That's the whole point. That's exactly what it is. So every time I close my eyes, my third eye is open to that position because my mind is always open. But every time I communicate with somebody different, I always close the portals. I never leave a portal open. Okay. Because you have to understand you're communicating to higher levels of people or lower levels of people or medium. It doesn't matter. What matters is for you to protect yourself through your lights every single day you're communicating, especially if you're using tarot cards. Okay. Tarot cards can be dealt in the right way, they can be dealt in the wrong way, but you have to understand where the soul is traveling, especially if you're doing a reading for somebody. Okay. Because it's all connected inside. Right. So everything that I'm seeing right now is already done through its equation. You guys are trying to understand space of you with colors and lights. You have to understand your structures. You have to understand your mind telepathy. And when that comes in, everything comes into form. So now you're seeing on the other side and it's all coming to its light. Right? It's a lot of fun when you do that. Okay? So try to understand what space is to you. It's everything to you inside. But you have to learn how to communicate to the body, a vibration. Because when you close your eyes, everything changes its position. You're still here, but as soon as you get up, you're now traveling to another dimension of vortex. All right. If you walk to the door, you're speed locating. Okay. So you have to understand what the soul is doing because it is you. So when you close your eyes again, okay, you understand where the soul is and what it wants to do. You control the soul. That's the central line system of its connection to its position of all levels of your chakra system. You have to understand your data, your processing, uplinks, downloads, and upgrades, and uploading systems. Now, you've probably never seen your commander close his eyes so much, right? I'm just showing you that when you communicate with your body, you have to really communicate of what you want. Now, I'm closing my eyes and I created a thought. That thought becomes in position to color lights or in that track system. So if you want to manifest things like a car, visualize it first. Get the coloration, get the shape, okay, get the activation, and then put it out, right? So that's already connected to the soul. So the soul travels to what you want because it's the soul that travels through the mind. So there's no separation there. But it's the most beautiful thing when you start seeing visual, okay? That you become a visual of an artist. You become a visual of a panel. You understand your connections. So as long as you stay in the center of the calm system of the mind and don't confuse anything that connection is, because as soon as you close your eyes and you're off cycle, you got sonar coming in, especially if you're in lights, you see a lot more. And then you just go, whoa, 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 I got to open my eyes. What was that? What did I just see? Well, that was freaky. So things come to you if you don't understand it, right? So the soul has to what? Identify these things, right? So how long can you close your eyes, right? So get into the practice of that. So when you close your eyes, you really are listening to yourself inside. You can hear the vibrations. You can hear the palpitations of your heart. You actually can feel the connection, right? You can hear the connections, the planets. It's like you open your ears and it's connecting, right? That's the sound of space when you open your ears. It's all the senses when you close your eyes, okay? But you have to have your thought already created, right? Because people come to me, Commander, I don't see black. I don't see anything else. Well, because you haven't created a thought. Get out of the conscious and get into the super consciousness, that connections. You start off with the sub, then the super, and then superhuman. Try to stay at that bubble level because you're coming into sea levels. You got to get out of the Mediterranean. You got to get into the submediterranean. You got to get into higher levels of the automatic lens system. It's communication. So when you close your eyes, think of atmosphere. When you close your eyes, think of hemisphere. When you close your eyes, think of stratosphere. When you close your eyes, think of bio. Open your ears. Now you're in computers. Now you're in space. Now you're in 50,000 years in the future. Right? So I can keep my eyes closed for 20 minutes, half an hour, and see everything 50,000 years in the future. And this is how it's all done. Now I see cities, right? Now I see ground lines, right? So it's amazing how I see these things. 50,000 years, I'm right there, right now. 50,000 years in the future. You don't see it because you still worry about your thoughts and what you're creating. So you have to visualize these things and know it's already done through its position. That's the only way you understand how to meditate, is closing your eyes first. It's the birth line system to your chakra system communication. It's really important to do these things, guys. All right. So that's what we're going to do today, is just get into more of meditation, the tips on how to communicate to your body. Okay. If your body's sore, fix it. How do we fix my body? Well, it's connected to the soul. So if you have to close your eyes, right? This is where you come into metaphysical, okay? Mental physical. What is the soul doing today? What is it doing tomorrow? Is it relating? Is it realigning? Is it refocusing, readjusting? Find out what your soul is doing, because it's you. You don't want to lose traction of your soul, okay? So it's important that I keep my eyes closed so you get a better understanding how you come into this position. And everything starts off with the flowing recognition of time through your reactor. What is your heart saying today? What is it saying tomorrow? Don't worry about tomorrow. Concentrate on today. Stay in the center. Don't worry about the past. Keep yourself in the now. All right. So when you close your eyes, okay, basically just think of a color. Now you got the color, think of a shape. Now you got the shape, think of a dimension. Now think of a portal. You can bring in other intelligence if you want. You can bring in UFO if you want, but you're creating it second by minute. So what you've created is what? Everything through its imagination, right? And it becomes extremely real because the mind makes it real. And now you got full integrations from 2 into 1. So now you're connecting to the soul every time you close your eyes. I don't have to close my eyes. I keep my eyes open. I'm in my space and time. I see everything. And that's what makes it real, because it becomes real. Okay. Everything through communication is used through division line system. You have to use your chakra systems every single day through coloration at dimensional travel. You have to understand your chakra system are planets of activation. They're all intelligence of this connection. You come into the catalyst or in that connections. Truly understand how powerful you are in the mind system. Okay. So it's amazing how you do these things. You can even close your eyes and put your hand up. Okay. You can open your eyes and close your eyes, and you can see your hand light up. And then you can start doing this and start doing that. The soul's going over here. The soul's going over here. You're changing computer lines because you're on the other dimensional of its virtual, of its simulation, and you're creating everything. Here's a clock line system, diamond core line system, change rotation line conditions. I'm seeing my energy light open up through track line system. My finger points are setting up code line centers to its location. Track its connection, operate its position, put a new shape, position, location into communication. As soon as I look at my hand, right, you see the illumination. And this tells you exactly how much you have with the energy of its connection. Where are you through your atmosphere positions of time? So think of atmosphere, hemisphere, whatever you create through thought is created through the soul. That's the integration of you through cycle of yin and yang, because everything in life is going forward, not backwards. Now, if you close your eyes, you can go back. But be careful, especially if you're in lights, because if you try to change alignments, what does it do to the soul? It puts you in the dark center of dark matter. So don't do that through locations, right? So when you come into that, okay, after school, basically close your eyes, go outside and see nature, okay? Open space, and then you see the graph connections, and then you start seeing birds chirping, and then you'll see everything come at you, and you open your eyes, you'll see everything that you want to see, because it's all about changing things. So it's all about understanding when you close your eyes, you see yourself with the soul. The soul is seeing you through connection to the physical system, but that's the integration of a cycle. So basically, everything that is on the other side is already happening, which is the now. So the physical line system is in the now, but the soul is on the dimensional side living the now. Understand? That's why it's so powerful. Okay. So it's important you understand how to travel through the mind when you close your eyes and you open your ears. Right? So my ears are open. My eyes are open on the other side. Okay. Now it's connecting to higher form position. Okay. So it's all about understanding what is the soul doing on the other side, because it's living the now. So the physical line system has to truly understand its connection to its telepathy system. That's the whole point that we're trying to get across here. And it's all done through your meditation grass. But once you get into your simulation grass, Now you're into higher level of connection of force, the continuous force, and its dimension as portals. So it's all about understanding every time you high rise your positions to travels, you can create different shapes. All right. So the more you go into the future, the more you go faster with your thoughts of shapes. Okay. So everything in the future goes faster in time. The clocking is faster, everything dimensionalized. So basically, you're closing your eyes, but everything on the dimensional side is the now. Okay. It's like you crossing over the physical line system, but now you have the integration of the soul. There's no separation. So you're living the existence on the dimensional side of the now. And it's all created through its thought. Okay. That's why people can't see space, is because they're not aware of what they see. And it's very powerful, especially when you come to higher program settings. You guys are in 50 chakras. So if you close your eyes, everything is going to come into light because that's what they see. They see you through light, right? So you're no longer on the earth. You're in the mind now. You're out of the body. Okay. But you're attached through telepathy, right? So it's really interesting me coming across these things. I've never done this on video. I just wanted to show you how powerful it is when you close your eyes. Okay. So as long as you put yourself in the soul of its direction, knowing that it's in the present line system, okay, it's much easier for everybody. You have to put the soul in the connection of the now, okay, because that's what you're living in the navigation of its earth line system. Okay. So if you close your eyes again, right, you can be in the future, right, but has full integration with the physical line system of telepathy. So you're communicating to the soul, right, and the soul will communicate back with you. Friendship, relation, partnership, right? So you got the physical line system communicates with the soul. There's no separation there. So basically, if the physical line system is going, I don't know what to do with my activation light connections, change rotation center communications to the activation connection, change program setting to disposition line centers, change the chakra system communication. Oh, so if I change the rotation center line system, the allocated position of gravity line system will change the chakra location positions. That's exactly it. So they both go off, but they're integrated into one. There's no separation. So that's a communication of balance. That's what everybody has to come across. Okay. And closing your eyes, you see everything through dimension. But you have to create your thoughts. Thoughts are very powerful. Thoughts create everything. But you also have an imagination. That's how thoughts are created. That's how everything is created. But as long as you understand that the soul, okay, there's no separation with the soul and you. That's the yin and yang. That's the flow, the generator. It goes forward, not back. It's forward, right? Because if you go forward and you're creating this, it's going to split. And then you got to find a way to come back in the center line system and change the 8 center line system to its location of the 12 line connections. The 12 line connection is this 12 strands. Those are the planet locations to teleportation line connection. You don't want to get a confusing line system because then you're not connecting. So it's like basically calling somebody, but it's the wrong number, or somebody calling you and it's the wrong number, right? Misconception. Okay, there's a little bit of confusion there, right? So you call the wrong number by accident because your mind is not awake to that position. You dial the wrong number. Oh, sorry, wrong number, right? So you're not communicating the right signal. So whatever you do with your light system, okay, is everything through the soul system. It's just the soul lives everything in its dimension of space and time, okay, which makes it real, okay? So let's get into your questions. Galactica, Tina, Diane, Jill, Isabel, Sandra, how's it going? Vicky, Karen. Yeah, I pop in and say, hey, super busy day today, so I won't be on. Hope you guys have the very best day. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You too. Have a beautiful day. When I hold up my hand, I see multiple doors behind in front of space. And that's the thing is too, is that the more you connect inside, the more you come into your position of the soul. So I do this, right? You can do flashes, right? Really understand what the soul is trying to do. So when you close, illumination of your hand, right, comes to life, right? But it's still there. So I can move it here. I can move it here. I can set up a graph. Because remember, you're in the dimension of space now. Okay? But I don't have to close my eyes because I'm already in space. See? So you go higher levels, you see more. And the space comes into you more. And the grounds come up more. Right? So it's pretty interesting how you're above water. So that's what it is. It's like it pushes you from its gravitational pull. It's pretty fascinating. So think of yourself like in connections of a cup, right? You're a cylinder of a cup, okay? And here's the water level, okay? And you're at the bottom. You're at the bottom, okay? So what are you going to do? You're going to start swimming, right? You're going to go up to the top, right? So what happens when you come up the top? You come into different atmosphere, right? And then you come out, right? So it's all about you staying out. So when you come staying out, now you come into space, all right? And everything connects to slash time, not slash time, because you understand there's no space and time until you understand that you're in full space and time, okay? So when you come into that positions, now you have to truly understand the physical system gets full integration, okay, to mind slash telepathy, okay, of its connection to its soul. All right. All right. So you have to understand how to get out of its equation, but keep yourself in this similar system. Keep yourself in that position. So it comes more real to you. And the physical system starts leaving its position and it starts high rising. Okay. So you come out more of the physical alignment, more into the mind. So each time you come up, you come out more into space. See how it keeps coming out? So when it keeps coming out, your physical line system is no longer in its element. Okay, a 3D or 4D writing. It's all connected to 5D activation. So it comes up to here, and then you get full integration into one cycle line system. So it comes into that. You come to scan rotations, and this comes into integration to one system, right? So it goes right into the soul of the heart system. So the integration of you and the soul, there's no separation, right? The physical system just has to understand what's going on, especially with the brain, okay? If you're in light tractions and light communication of shape positions and you close your eyes, right, you're already meditating. But if you're seeing something come at you and you're not sure what it is, that's a problem. Because if it comes at you, it's going to take over your body because it knows you through light. So you close your eyes and these right away, you're open through the mind. They see you through light. They're coming at you. What are you going to do? Communicate with them? Or are you going to run away? Or are you going to go past them? You can't go past them because you have to identify yourself. So this is when you go to higher levels of space-time. Right? To you, it's space/time because there's no space, there's no time until you understand that the soul has to have full integration of the physical line system, and then you come into your own dimension of time, of space, right? And then there's no separation with the body track line system. There's no problem with that connection, but you have to understand to get fully into the mind system. So the only way to do that is to go inside through communication, and that's how you come into meditation. You start off very basic. Okay, so I'm closing my eyes. I'm seeing color. Okay, the coloration's off cycle. I'm going to put it back in location. Done, right? So I just fixed my root chakra. Security lines are off through line system. Now, it doesn't make any sense to you because you're not at my level, but we're all integrating line system to one alignment position, right? So you close your eyes again. Okay, so keep closing your eyes so you can actually see the color more and more. Once you see the color, you see the shape. Once you see the shape, then you see the structure. Once you see the structure, then you see the digital. So it's all about understanding what atmosphere are you dealing with? Atmosphere, hemisphere, stratosphere, or biosphere. So when you close your eyes, okay, you have to understand what you're seeing. It's very real to its position location. So you scan this, you scan this, you scan this, and you scan this. You're scanning all of them, right? So the soul basically can go in any direction. It can fly to any position, but it has to integrate the line system to you through the visible line system of telepathy. Okay, because it can't go anywhere without you. So there's no separation there. So when you close your eyes again, basically, okay, I'm in the hemisphere. Okay, I'm tracking this line system. I'm changing structural line systems to shapes and dimensional line system to its location. I'm activating a new tesseract to its tetrahedron location, right? So what that does is the soul comes in position, okay? It scans its location, see, and takes it out of its dimension to its line sequence of secure line defense, right? So what that does is it brings it up. It's like a spaceship. You're connected to laser direction line system. So you're all connected to your spaceship positions. So what that does is it brings it in connection and takes it out of its equation, all through the Merkaba, a 369 platform. So we all have to understand how real it is. And that's the understanding why people are coming across to me. Well, what's the whole point of going to school? Why do I have to know this? Well, the thing is, it's all done through illustration. You understand the connection to your diagrams, why we're in this position. It's all about your life cycles, but your life cycle is now in the spiritual system. You have to understand how to communicate through space first by closing your eyes. That's the only way you can understand anything through position. Okay, then you come into my telepathy, and then you can start reading people, and then you can start seeing numbers. What number is this? What number is that? So it comes into frame. So it's revealing the veils and seeing the filter. So you come into a new-eyed division of a soul direction to its laser direction, which is its dimensional time. So it tells you exactly it's in the atmosphere, hemisphere, stratosphere, or biosphere. Each atmosphere has a different sound tone. It's connected to different energy, different platform, different intelligence, different communication, different planet system, different computer line system of universe line system. Okay, especially if you cross way over onto the other side of dimensions. Okay, there's so many high levels of connection of TV reception position. Okay, if you watch Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey, you understand what I'm doing through that connection. It's amazing how it tracks its communication to its line system. Now I'm going to show you exactly what it is through calculation. It's going to be confusing to your line system, but this is how it's all in position to its track connections. Now it's lacing line of communication cycles. It goes into its communication rotation system. So it's amazing that I don't have to close my eyes because I'm already in space. I have balance with space and time through all computers. So I know exactly how to operate each one through security line defense to its positions. So I can have 3 or 4 different security line position line centers into location. So it's all about understanding what you're doing with your activation centers. You can security line system to positions. So when you go higher levels, what are you doing? You come into higher positions of 3, 6, and 9 platforms locations, right? And what you can do through that, you can go back in the center line system and create another dimensional realm connection to its surface location center line system. It comes into a higher level of security line defense. Okay, and then you can go to any level of position. So you're changing your shapes every time you go higher dimension time conditions. It's all done through its position. So that's an important thing. That's why I wanted to show you when I close my eyes, everything is done through its computer positions. So when I do this, I do it through the computer of the mind system that I have, right? Which plots its system. Okay. So my computer is on every level of shape position of dimensional time. Okay. So my computer can be anything through shape. So I know exactly what dimension I'm working with, right? So once you understand that, then you understand your keyboards. Then you understand all your structure lines, face recognition timers, all dimensional time location, right? To its computer system. So I'm using keyboards on each realm line center to its position. Okay. That tracks its communication to its dimension. Okay. So it high rises into higher levels of 369 platform location. Okay. So it's amazing what you're doing with your keyboards and your spacebar positions and your numbers, letters, and shapes. You can structure line the connections. You can take your computer line position out of its equation location. Right? So you come into a higher level of a computer system, but you have to understand the tones and its vision when it comes into high levels. Atmosphere, hemisphere, stratosphere, and biosphere have different tones. So it's like, so it's all about understanding you're going higher and higher and higher, right? Space is going to get colder, 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 right? So that's why you have your anti-gravity suits. That's why you have your wetsuits every time you go through a planet line system. See, it's very important. When I was going through scanning line system, this is what happened to me. I was going through reaction through my physical system, and I didn't understand what was going on. So I was scanning the planet because that's what it wanted me to do, right? But then the planet center location went to my reaction to physical line system, and it disalarmed me through connections. So it opened that track line system. They say, no, this is what you got to do. You got to send up the sonar line system back to location, set up the shape position to its planet location, fix its communication line system to its track line system, and take it out of its dimension. Right? So the reaction of headache to the migraine goes away, and then I fly to another direction location. All right. So it's all about understanding when you're creating these things, it's already created. It's just that you have to understand you are creating your thoughts of space and time. And this is all done through the mind. So it's all done through an animation, which is real. The mind is an animation of a digital frame. Okay. So it's all about understanding when you go into autopilot, it's already done. The mind has a way of seeing things already done. So you guys are trying to understand when you close your eyes just to get into your thoughts of what you're doing through creation. You get into your colors. You understand each chakra system is a different color. Close your eyes. Find the colors. Find exactly what you're dealing with, because there's all different levels of AI position. Okay? So let's say you start off with 12 chakras and you close your eyes. You have to understand all 12 locations of what they are and what color they are, right? And it comes more into frame, more into color, more into light, more into attraction, more into abundance, more into surrender. So you're surrendering yourself every single time you're traveling through dimensions of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just start with the 5, right? You have your grounds, you work with your roots. Those are the 2 you have to look at. That alone has its own E-field line system. Okay, so just work with those 2. Really master the communications of the colors, because everything through that color has its own dimensional time lock system. So it's all about understanding it connects in all ways and forms to its position. So it always has to go forward in high position location. It channels higher to higher line system. So that's the ground line system. So you know exactly its communication to its high line system. So it circlines its position to a higher level system. All right. And then when you come to that position, you come into your UFO position. It sonars its line connections, and it communicates to the ground formation and opens up the track line system of Mother Earth location. See how powerful that is? Looks like an engine, because that's what it is. Each chakra system is a solar generation of light that's connected to planet line center. It's all connected. So it's an energy cell. It's a pocket cell. It's an activation light system that's connected to your reactor line connection. You can't live without it, but you have to understand how many times it spins. Especially, the thing is if you have your 369 platform at 369, okay, and you change your thought, and your 3 goes over here, what's just happened? You move your 3, right? So what do you have to do? You have the line track position, go back in the point center, 369 location, and put it back in location. So that's a problem when you come into behaviors and everything through your connections of your box level system and body graph line connections changes vibration to its position, right? It's all connected through you through that connections. So you have to learn how to take all these vibrations into one line system. Okay. And then you basically put that all together and take it out of its equation to its position. Okay. Everything is about taking things out. So out with the bad, in with the good. Out with the bad, in with the good. It's very simple, very easy, very direct. But you have just to know how to reline, resurface, reface. Like interface, interline, interconnect, the analytical graph line connections, interchanging positions, interlocking positions. You have to have friendship, relation, partnership with the soul guys. That's the only way you can see more of a relation of space connections. So you come into Diamond Core Line Center. Okay. You can come to a high level system of rotation. Okay. You start off with that equation. to its line system. So, and then you can create a circle rotation line system to a plasma energy light system to its location, right? And you come into that position, you're doing everything through your perception. So when you do that, everything comes out to its line system, right? And what that does, it comes in position and it scans you to find out who you are first, because you're taking things out of its portal. And it's very important to understand these things because everything is done through its tarot card, right? So you're not just opening your portal, you're opening their portal, and that's what comes out. So if you don't close the portal, other things come out. Other things come out to its direction. So if you're channeling off to somebody else, what are you doing? You're keeping the portals open, right? So everybody is in that position. So if you channel to other people, you're going to have more intelligence, and they're going to create form positions. They're going to create their own mirror resolution line system. But as long as you understand your connections is everything through its line system. So if you see the mirror, okay, this is you and this is you. This is the reflection of you. This is your soul of you. This is the physical line. Okay, and this is your dimensional / self. Okay, so this is the physical, this is dimensional. So once you understand it's just a mirror resolution, it all comes into one position location. 2, it's mind telepathy of its system. So you communicate through the mirror. So when you connect through the mirror changes position and it comes out of its portal of its dimensional line system and creates its own portal location of its own location. So once it understands that, it comes into full communication of a 3, 6, and 9 location. And then when you get into that, then you get into your connections of the sun, the moon, and everything through the location line system. Okay. So this is the true understanding. You have to get friendship, relationship, partnerships with your connections of God. Okay. The geometrics, operations, and its direction. Okay. So everything is a reflection of a connection to you. That's all it is. So when you're looking in the mirror, that is you on the other side. So it's all about understanding these things, because when you basically, if you open up lights or if you close lights in the physical line system, now you're connecting to the soul of its identification. Like I said, with the mirror, mirrors are portals, tarot cards are portals. So it's very important you understand that you close these things, especially if you're doing readings with somebody else. Okay, because you're opening up portal lines and communications, security line defense, and you don't know what you're bringing in through dimensional time. If they go through your portal, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Okay, so what can happen if they're a higher light than you? They can change your program positions, change your rotation of your dimensional, and create their own shape position in your physical line system to your residence. Right? So you have to destroy their Merkaba, you have to destroy their dimensional time, you have to destroy their portal location and their security line defense position. That's how real space is to all levels of time. Okay. So it's interesting when you come across these things. It's just truly understanding how we come into these positional times, but you got to start with this connection first. Okay. So you basically have to stay above water, right? Because if you try to keep going down, what's happening? You're suffocating. You can't breathe. I say, you know. So you're getting into the relaxed motion, right? You get into the soul identification. You get into the present line system, which is really powerful because now the soul is in the present of space. That's where it gets connected to its position. But the physical system has to understand the integration. Okay? Because you got to understand that there is a hemisphere of you. Okay? That's the true understanding what you're connecting with. Everything is structure line through connections. Everything is structure line through connections. Okay? Everything is structure line through connections. Understanding what you're looking at. Right? Now, you come into that, then you come into your compilation line center to its position. You go into the center line connections, you go into the dimensional line system. Okay, you can track its communication. You can take this out through positions, or you can stay in the center line system of its position. Right? So you take the energetic ball line system to its location or planet location, take it out of its equation. Okay? So it's really understanding how to use the visualized systems to your 369 platform, especially when you go into your test reviews and evaluations, why 369 is extremely important to you, right? It's just how I come across these things when I did a very powerful live TikTok yesterday, and I had 369 views. That's a sign, guys. All right? I got that from somebody saying that basically whole level systems when that connection. So 369 views, what does that tell you? Right? It's incredible when you see these things. So you have to understand how to use this connection because it's all in your framing position of your main frame. Right? So you go into the triangle line system, you close your eyes, you come into a box. Now you're creating a box. You created a box, you take it out of its equation location to its division. It stays in the center line system. You go back in the center line system, you travel through records of time position. Okay, you can come back to location, right, and create another circle rotation line, center to dimensional line connections. You can trap down through position a secure line defense into all positions of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-dimensional time. Right? This is where it comes into the triangle line system to its location. So it's all projection of what you see through your compilation of graph system to its position. Okay? So, and it's incredible when you see these things. Your digital lines are everything that you see through practice systems, your prohibitives, license plates, everything has meaning. And you're seeing these things for a purpose. To understand it's all connected to the soul of its dimension of time. Okay? So you have to really get more into space of you. Okay? And then you understand more of the time of its thought. So this is where you have to understand these connections. So, like again, when you close your eyes, think of the color. You have the color in the mind, right? Okay, so what are you working with? Okay, so the soul wants to know, what are you working with? Okay, you're hesitating. You're taking too long, right? So the soul is waiting. Okay, you don't have integration with your soul yet because you have to understand the connection of what's going on. So the soul knows everything of travel. A 369. It knows how to go through portals. It knows how to set up vortex. It knows how to go through shapes. It knows how to do everything in position of space and time. The physical system just has to understand it through its integration of telepathy. That's all this is. Now the circle line system is going like this through its coloration. So it's wind graphing, an oscillation wind sector that's connecting to 8 circle line centers to its location. It's grinding its surface to its earth line system, to its connection. I open my eyes, it's done through its equation. Now I saw all that in 10 seconds. That's how fast the mind can go through thought. Okay? If you take too long, you're hesitating, and the soul's going, it's stamping its feet. I'm waiting. What are we doing here? What's going on? Do you know what you're doing? So there's no problem here if you understand the communication of the soul, right? You're closing your eyes and you're already on the other side of its mirror of resolution. So it comes into its reflection and then it becomes out of its reflection to its diagram of its image. So you no longer see it in that position. You see it now as the soul, which is you. That's the integration of the full cycle. Okay. Now, once you see yourself fully, then you realize, whoa, okay, this is real. So now your soul's awake, fully awake on all levels of the chakra. So you know exactly which one to communicate with because you understand the color. Each chakra system is an energy cell. It's a portal. It's a dimension to its planet. So you have to understand how powerful it is when you're walking these graph line system. It's a magnetic force that's connected to your thought. Now, as soon as you create that thought, what happens? Okay, you close your eyes, what happens? It's already created. You've already illustrated the diagram, and everything through its creation is now in its visualization. Okay, you open your eyes, and everything's done through its equation. So you have to come more into the imagery of yourself, of the soul. Okay, if not, it's going to be in and out. You're not going to see it. Oh, I can't see myself. It's blurry. It's like It's like raindrops. Like what's coming into form? What is that? What's going on here? Wait a minute. You're coming at me. What is that? That's you coming at you, trying to integrate inside you. Now, it might be scary at first, but that's what has to happen. So when that happens, you come into the integration and the heart system opens up more three-dimensional time position. So it's you coming at you. That's space and time. Okay. It's very powerful when you see yourself go into yourself. That's what happened to me when I went into 5,000 years in the future, right? So basically, my future self gave me what I need to see in my projection. And that's why I'm here with you guys. Right? So is it starting to make a little bit more sense now how space is very, very powerful when you come more into its involvement, to its encouragement? You come more into its center of its system to realize you have to come into the integration of the soul first, right? And then it's awake and alive. Okay? So there's no separation anymore. You have full integration to yin and yang. Then you come into your cycles of defense, and then you come into your securities, and then you come into your portals, and then you come into your realms, and then you start creating your own wormholes, right? Because you have full integration now with the physical line and the spiritual of telepathy of telekinesis. All right? So, but if you have any questions or comments on that, let me know. It's important you guys really, really understand what the soul is. These are meditation tips where you start with connections. That's what everybody does when they close their eyes. They automatically go into the imagination of thought through the soul. The soul has to understand what you're doing because it's you. So if you're still much in the physical line system, the soul will not come at you. So it's really understanding how to get that integration to its dream set positions. Okay, because it can backtrack that line connections. You can be very confused. Oh, what day is it? Did I just wear this yesterday? Wait a minute. Why am I wearing this again? So you're confusing what? What are you confusing? The soul is not directing its position of what it's doing. So remember, you're separated until you understand the connection. So you have to understand the soul is in space. The soul is in time. It's in time of travel. Okay, so remember saying that everybody has space and time? You guys are in my space and time. And that's why it's so powerful. And that's why you see things that you don't understand. But you guys are understanding more because of what? And people come to me and say, what's the whole point of doing all this? Well, it's all about you remembering who you are and why you're doing these things. Okay? This is all done through life cycle. It's like you asking me a question, why are you going to school? To learn your foundations. ABCs and 1, 2, 3, right? We all have to learn that. Right? That's why we have teachers. That's why we have coaches. That's why we have senseis, right? That's a true understanding that they're giving you a foundation, right? But when you're ready, what do? You leave the nest and you're on your own. You have to figure these things out for yourself. These are objectives that you have to learn. You have to learn how to travel through the soul. Every single time you get up in the morning, you are the soul. There's no separation. If there's separation, you're not with your soul. Then there's separation. Okay? So you got to see more of yourself as space and time position. Okay? So, I'm resting in space-time. Nothing came at me. Yeah, so that's the thing. Because you're coming to me saying that I'm resting in space. Okay, but nothing's came to me, right? So you're not communicating to your soul. See, there's no doubting system. You have a soul. You just have to understand the integration of separation first. So, and that's the thing, is that people don't understand. Like I said, there's no space and no time because you're not connected to your soul. But once you get connected to your soul through integration, now you're connected to your soul. Why do you think it's very powerful when you come into the birth line system of navigation? Your navigation, your GPS location, your audio signals, audio defense positions. You have to learn how to use your ears and your eyes, right? For direction. Okay? And use your voice for command and what you want. Okay? So that's why you're not seeing things, Karen. So either you're thinking too much or you're overloaded line connections and basically you come in a position saying, I'm not seeing anything. Why? Because you're not connected to your soul. So if you let yourself go and let yourself flow, and the only thing you concentrate on is what you're thinking through thought. Okay, so it's very easy to do these things if you understand the body adaptation of vibration. So you close your eyes. Everybody close their eyes, right? Now you have your eyes closed. Very simple. Okay, relax your eyes, release the stress, release the fear. You have to release everything that you're thinking about. If you're thinking, it won't happen. All right, so it's coming in. Here's the clock. Soul's there. It's coming in. It sees you. All right. Okay. Now, basically, what do you want the soul to do? Because it is you. It's just the soul of you. So now you're seeing space and time of you. All right. Okay. I want you to set up my operation line centers of communication. All right. So it's going to do that. It's already done. It's created. So the soul does everything else. The physical system just has to understand what's going on. That's all it is. If the physical system doesn't understand, you're not communicating to the soul. Understand? You can't have separation with the soul. So you have to come into the position of navigation. What do you want the soul to do? Where do you want it to go? What do you want to create? What do you want to see? Right? Okay, so my throat is off through line system. Okay. Now the throat could be on anything through color. Remember, there's not just one color, it's everything through color. Okay, line signal rotation, change my throat pattern, location, back in connections. My carotid is off, line connection. Don't worry about me, what I say. Try to understand what you can say through your soul. Your definition of space and time is different from my space and time. All right. So it's all about understanding. The soul has to understand you completely and what you're doing through cycle. And it always has to be a flowing recognition of time. So when you close your eyes, get out of the fear of everything that you're thinking of and get into the knowing of the doing, already creating it through its position. See? And then you get into the flow of everything. And there's, oh my goodness, that's crazy. And it basically comes back in you and say, good job. He wants to help you because it is you. So that's the problem. Humanities, they're connected to their force recognition timers, but they're not connected to their soul, and they're fighting their system inside. They have a big chip on their shoulder. Like I said, they're trying to figure out the world in 5 minutes, and that's what I came across. And somebody came to me. My friend came to me. Hey, what are you trying to do? You're trying to figure out the world in 5 minutes, right? Let things flow. When you close your eyes, it's all about seeing what you want to see. Go to your happy place, right? It could be anything through imagination. You create it through thought, but you have to let go of the fear and anxiety and stress and depression, or you can't travel through the mind system, guys. That's why you can't see anything, because that's all you focus down the road. You're thinking everything negative, right? So stop thinking negative, change your mindsets, get into your meditation, get into your breathing, out with the bad, in with the good, right? And now you're seeing color. Okay, so what color do you want to see? Because each chakra system has a color, right? I want to see the sun graph line system on T reception location. Done. Comes back to you. What do you want next? So it's working for you, not against you. It only works against you if you don't understand what's going on through position, right? So you have to be cautious when you're going up to lights, because when you close your eyes, everything in dimension sees you. Okay? So I close my eyes, intelligence comes in. Communication line centers, who are you through location, activation line connections. Identify yourself, please. I'm just new here. I'm just getting to know myself. Who's your commander? Repeat, who's your commander? So you have to identify yourself, because if you don't, what happens? Your body is taken over from the atmospheres. Remember, I said there's 4 atmospheres of projection. They're connected to Vanguard line systems. They're all connected to the mutation line values of its intelligence, all connected to computers. There's only 5 within me, right? So they're all protecting the atmospheres, right? So this is going way beyond recognition of the mind, right? Because they're not going to allow you in the atmosphere if you don't know how to travel. Space is very, very real through the mind. Okay, you guys understand that because you've been in Mercury, you've been in Uranium Planet Center, You've been to other locations. You know how real space is in travel, right? But you always have to identify yourself. Okay? That's a true understanding where they get to know you. Friendship, relation, partnership with all intelligence. And it's just vibration. But when you go to higher levels, you come into higher levels of brainium, and then you come into your computers, right? So now you come into really high rise up position. You have to really understand how to communicate to yourself. You have to have full integration. Closing your eyes or open your eyes, you have to be in space, regardless. You can't confuse your positions, especially when you're at the connections. If you're up your connections of your datas and upgrades and downloads, they should already know that you should already know what's going on, right? If not, they take over your body, right? So that's amazing how we do these things. The position, everything is done through energy, frequency, vibration, harmonic resistance. You have to understand all this position of you, okay? So whatever you're creating is already created. Now, I don't expect you to create it right away. What I do expect you is that when you close your eyes, is to think of a color. Now, that color is connected to the chakra system. Do you want to communicate with your body? Do you want to communicate with your heart? Do you want to communicate with your mind? Do you want to communicate with your eyes, your ears? What do you want to communicate with when you close your eyes of thought? That's connecting to the body, vibration. Okay? Because now you're connecting to the soul. The soul is there for you 24/7. People don't understand this. There's no separation unless you separate yourself through your thoughts. Okay? So how do you close the portals? Well, your soul will know its integration. If you understand the friendship, relation, or partnership with the physical line system, the physical just has to understand. The physical doesn't leave. It's the mind, the heart, and the soul that leaves. So that's the connection, right? That integrates into one, right? And then when you're ready, the soul of its divine to its immortality will come into you. Right? And then everything starts making more sense. Travels, recognition, time, position, stress levels, fears, out quickly, very fast. So when I close my eyes, there's no fear, right? I close my eyes, I see intelligence coming at me, right? I say hi because I know who I am. See? But I don't have to close my eyes. I have full integration with my immortality of myself. Okay? So this is the true understanding where you guys have to come across. So you're going to have separation until you understand your connections to each other, which is 2 and 1. Okay? So I love connecting to the vibration of pink. Is there a reason? Well, pink is a connection to all level systems of the heart, right? So pink is never one color. To understand your planet system is all color. Lemuria is all one color, but it's everything through color. So the true understanding is that when you're creating your thoughts, where are you connecting through your 369 platforms? How many connecting levels are you at through position of atmosphere, time? So the more you go faster into space with your thoughts, the more you're changing everything through its connection of its vibration. All right. So if I say line signal rotation, it's going to communicate. It's going to change the wall in each line position. That's what it does. Okay. That's exactly what it does. So it moves on its own. So we're in the position right now. We're coming in the plasma interference with 5D. It's trying to get to know you through the spiritual system of its virtual reality to its simulation, which is connected to singularity. Okay. So when it comes into more form, you see it more through clarity. Because when you guys do higher levels, when you're going through trips and you're working in space, you're not seeing these things because you're not identifying yourself enough through your soul. Your soul has to be open through clarity. The veil has to be open completely. And you have to be aware of all your senses. Okay. So when you want to close your portal, okay, just connect to the soul. There's no separation there. You just finished doing what you have to do with the reading with somebody. Close the portal. Close the portal, the aligned system to connections of this person, right? You have to mention the name because you're connecting to the DNA of that person, right? So it's all about understanding the construct of its connection and what you're communicating with to each other, right? And it's very simple. It's not that hard to do, right? So it's referencing to everything, and the soul knows exactly what you're communicating with because there's no separation because that is you through the soul, which is the higher self. But once you go to higher levels, it gets a lot more confusing because you're coming to higher levels of intelligence, of vibration, higher levels of shapes, of dimension, of portals. So everything spins faster. So you start out with this. Creation, right? So it's all connected to our voicing patterns. It's how we're connected, all connections of the soul. But the integration cycles has to truly understand all levels of space and time through direction. And what you're doing through your thought of color and lights, and how you're acting upon this. Everything through connection of human resonance, your body graph connections, your emotion sensors in that line system. Okay. It tracks its communication through its GPS line system. Okay. So mention the name of that person. Use voice command to close portals. Yes, because that's who you're communicating with, right? That's the importance you have to understand, because remember, when you're using a tarot card or reading, okay, you're opening up your portal. So your mind is already open. Third eye is already open. So you're connecting to that person. So that triangle line system of the graph line system is going to that abyss. See how it changes? See the background, it's blue. So my portal's open. Now, if I do a reading, okay, I have to close the portal on their side position because their portal's open. You're opening their portal. You understand? That's how you open a reading. So it's all done through DNA. All right. So if you don't get the name and it's just a solar text, that's fine. Right? Very important to understand these things. What you want to do usually comes in identification. You can use the last 4 digits. It's like your license or any of that connections, right? As long as they get the track line system to its connection. Everybody's on a DNA of a structured positions. You're all connected through your own identifications or codes, right? So basically, it could be anything. Waving system 763 8000 or something like that. So as long as you understand what you're communicating with, as long as you close their portal, you're fine. But if you keep their portal open, other things come out. And when things come out and you get a higher light connection of intelligence, they start creating things on their own. They start creating your portals of their position, and they bring higher intelligence, and they start creating their own civility. That's what I do when I clean houses. I don't think people understand what cleaning a house is, paranormal activity. It's all about living a civilization on the dark line system. So it's all about understanding why we're in this position. So we have to integrate our systems, especially when we come into readings of people on the other connections, psychonisms or anything, empath or witches or that system, right? Truly understand how to use this. So when you get a tarot card, you should already know it through the mind system. And it's very important to understand these things because there's a lot of fake tarot cards, that's trying to understand what's going on. See, well, the activation light system, your heart center is off cycle, but I see you in the future of another relation to its connection. I see you seeing your soulmate, but you're reading something. Okay. So not only the portal's open, but it's going on its back for us because you're reading it. See, the thing is, the integration cycle has to understand the soul from the soul. It's not communicating to the soul if you're reading something. That doesn't mean you're a tarot card reader. There's a lot of scam out there. So you have to understand that you don't have to read the tarot card. It's in your mind already. That's why I said one on TikTok when it came up strength, right? I told you exactly what strength means. That comes from you, which connects to that person, and which connects to that person and that person. But as long as you close the portals, you're fine, right? So if you don't close the portals and you do another reading, what are you doing? Intelligence is taking over your body as you're reading somebody else. And if you keep channeling off to different directions of different people, what are you doing? You're not yourself anymore. You're at a different motion of intelligence. That's how things are taken over through its resonance. Okay. All right. So let's get into your questions here. Okay. So mention the name. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. What exactly are integration sensors? Integration sensors, behavior line systems of the heart. It's the beat cycle to connection of its pacemaker. Okay, so trying to understand how to connect to the sensors of you through its position of what you see through the eye tracks of that person that you're doing its reading. right? So either they're giving you reactions. So this is where it comes into. When you understand that everything through solar text, you can actually see the face structure of the person. That's how powerful you can be. So they see you through space position, and you see them through space position, and you can understand what they look like. It's extreme power to do these things because they show faces, face structure, right? So you can read that, and that's how I'm able to see people with ghost lines because their eyes are the windows of the shapes. So basically, you can have a ghost that's attached to the soul, and the ghost is holding you. Okay, so you have to understand how to release it. All right, so it's all reaction saying that's not you, that's somebody else, and you've been living that with 10 years. So that negative attachment has been on you, right? So it's all about understanding how to get it out. Okay, so and a lot of tarot cards don't know these things, especially closing portals. You have to be aware how powerful it is. It's like a Ouija board. Those are very real. So you have to understand how to identify these things. Mediums are very real, right? Seeing people on the other side. You have to be cautious because if you wake them up, then what? You've opened up their portal. Now they're awake. Maybe they don't want to go, right? Because it has yes and no. So if they're stuck in between, they're still in your connections of your atmosphere. So how are you going to get them out? There's signals and symbols to all levels of intelligence on the other side when you pass over. So when you're waking something up, that's like waking somebody up in sleep. It's very dangerous. So you have to know what you're doing, right? Because everything is ancestry and history. You can bring somebody back from the 1600s. You can bring somebody back from the 1300s. You don't even know what you're doing. So it's being cautious of what you see through its symbol. Everything through spirit has a symbol. We'll get into that more through connections. So I'd like to get more into the impact of witches and all that connection. It's truly powerful how we come into this position of a tarot card, how to read it without reading it. Understand? That's a true tarot card. Okay. So I wanted to give that to your attention because I think it's all about you protecting yourself, especially when you're doing readings of other people. Okay. Because you don't know what you're bringing in through their thoughts. Okay. So it could be anything that they created. And if you keep that portal open, it comes into your division of time position, into your 5-track line system, into your physical system. And now you're stuck. And now it's in the paranormal activity of your house. And now it's taken over because things start moving, right? I came across that, when I was with my ex. He had a dark energy. I was aware, but I wasn't awake. But it was very real. All the windows were closed, 2:00 in the morning, right? There was a couple of pieces of paper and a pen, right? He came in, he changed the interline system. He was in negative position, right? He basically took over everything through the atmosphere, right? So I'm looking at the paper, I'm looking at the pen, all the windows are closed, off the table. I wasn't scared, but I was aware, but I wasn't awake. So if I was awake and I know how to take rid of it, then I exactly know what's going on. So everything entity force is a line system of spiritual connections. Now you're going to the spiritual of its community. And then you understand what the soul is trying to do. It's all about protecting you through light. You have to protect your lights, especially when you come to high position of your dreams, because you can have your dreams corrupted, manipulated, and taken over through tracking devices. So you have to truly understand how to use this through the soul. The soul goes through so many levels of activation. Protection is number one. You use Archangel Michael. Very simple. But everything has a code. Everything has a command. I call upon thee. So everybody is in that position as long as you understand the identification of you. Once they understand you through light, through travel, through vibration, you're totally fine. But once you go to higher level systems and you're reading tarot cards and you're not sure what you're bringing in, don't do readings because you're not ready. So you have to be ready in all ways of the angelics, all ways of space, because you could be bringing in something 15 million years into the future. It's going into your portal, a 5-dimensional system. And not only it's taken over your body, but it's taken over your family. So you have to understand what the spiritual system is and what it can do, right? So it's all done through technology, right? It's very powerful when you see these things through perception, people. It's really understanding the spiritual system of connection of what you're dealing with through other line systems. Okay, because people do pass, but if you wake them up, you better know what you're doing, right? See, that's the true understanding. When you read a tarot card, what are you looking at? You're looking at a picture frame, right? Well, I don't know if you know this, but everything that you see through a tarot card, it opens up. Everything that frame opens up and it goes into your mind system through its frame position. You guys probably don't know that. So when you're opening up a tarot card, everything that's open goes into you. So be cautious because you better know what it is. So you read it without reading it. That is a tarot card reader. Okay? Because you have to understand the soul understands its definition. It understands its connections. It has its reading information. You are full of information. So you should know everything through intelligence of what it is, through everything that you read. There's 52 cards in a deck. So you should know exactly how to read without reading. Now you're protecting yourself through lights. But as soon as you read something, that's not you through intelligence. Your soul connects to everything through the heart system. Okay, the heart never lies. It always tells the truth, right? I don't look at a tarot card and face it like this and then tell you exactly what it is. That's not a tarot card reader. A true tarot card reader. I'm not talking about a crystal ball here, guys. I'm talking about a portal that you're opening up on dimensional time. You're seeing a reflection of a flashcard. That's what tarot cards are. They're flashcards. So basically, it's opening up your third eye. Okay, so you have to be cautious on what you bring in your life, and it's all about protecting your lights. Okay, so when I became King of Angelics, of King Archangel Azareth, I had to go through these things, understand everything through identifications to all levels of archangels and angels, and why they're plateau on Earth, and why they're in position. They're there for you 24/7, right? They're all in that connection for you. They're working for you. Okay. So it's all about doing the research of you, of the soul, which is done inside through communication, but it has to be done through the body because the body knows everything. The physical system just has to understand these things. That's all. As long as you keep yourself in the center. So when you close your eyes, you're no longer in the physical. You're connecting to the soul, right? But you're still in center. So the physical system is calm. The soul comes in, right? It connects with you, integration. And now you can do whatever you want. And it flies wherever it wants. There's no confusion, right? There's only confusion if you're separated from your soul. That's the integration of yin and yang, which calls the cycle of return. Okay? So I just want to get into tarot cards, guys. All right? All right, let's see. What about the living group readings? Anything to that connections. It's even worse if you're going through a live group meetings because you're looking at different portals of energies. Not only you have to look at them and scan them, you have to understand what you're looking at, right? So when they're looking at you, you're looking at them, but they're scanning you and you're scanning them. So you have to make sure you always have your energy fields up, especially when you go into lives or groups or meetings around that connections, right? But you're always protecting your lights every time you do a reading. So you can do it inside. You say, I want to communicate with a high-level system. I'm reading a cycle line system to this person. Okay, this person is a high-line system, so I'm going to protect myself to a higher connection. Boom, done, easy. Now you can do the reading. Now you're protected through light. Energy goes in, good to go. You're protecting yourself. If you don't protect yourself, your soul won't understand. Remember this? Understand now? So that's why you have to protect your lights. And that's why you get headaches and migraines. Okay, so something's trying to take you over if you don't protect your system. Everything through connection is the soul of protection of light. That's the biggest thing you have to understand, especially when you're dreaming at night, because your mind is completely open. So if you're an extremely high program of intelligence, just imagine how much energy you have to protect yourself. Right? But you have to know what you're doing, especially when you're traveling to different dimensions of space. You're putting up different E fields. So you put up the same E field of its intelligence that's in 50 million years in the future. You're totally fine. You got full communication with each other, right? Either light or dark, it doesn't matter. But in relation, they respect you as you respect them. Okay? It's all about respect, especially when you're working with the dark line conditions of the mystical line system or anything galaxy systems. Okay? With light, there's dark, positive and negative. Okay? Negative cycles, positive cycles. Okay? But you're coming across this every single time, but protection is number one, guys, especially when you're doing readings. Okay? So I've noticed people pick up exactly something I have gone through sometimes. But see, the thing is, too, when you do a reading, you feel off. Well, what just happened? Switch. What just happened? Something went inside you. So if your soul knows it's aware and the physical system doesn't, that's a problem. But if the soul knows it's aware and the physical understands, then you're good. You got full integration of mind telepathy, and the soul will put up your soul generation lights and protect you through all connection. Okay? So, tarot readers on TikTok. Right now they got so many. But see, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of fake out there, right? So when you do this, right, that's not a tarot card reader. And things that pop out. A tarot card reader is already conception of system, position, location. It's already set in system. Doesn't have to read anything. The reading information comes inside you. That's a tarot card reader. So you're reading something to its dimension of space, to that person, to its past, present, and future. And that's what I do through the readings, right? Sometimes I go way back. Maybe you had an accident. I go through, oh, car accident. Oh, how'd you know that? So I go back into the past, but I don't change the alignment. So it's understanding you have to full communication of travel first. So in relation, you have to understand your research of the person that you're dealing with before you do the reading. So it's kind of like, breaking it in, getting to know the person first. Don't get automatically into the reading with that person because you don't have enough time to put your E-fields up, right? So they could be manipulated, they could be lying to you, they could be deception, they could be high God position, through the geometric operation of dimension, you wouldn't even know. See, that's the thing. Just because you see a face structure doesn't mean what you're seeing is what you're seeing. It could be somebody else. Now that's a trapped system. So you have to be cautious on that too, to its relation. I come across these all the time, right? So I give people the benefit of the doubt. So what I do is thing is too, because I'm extremely high position on all computer line centers, I see everything right away. You guys have to work on to see these things right away. You have to come into its division of clocking on what you see through structures of face. Their face is changed. It's like, a straight face, right? So is that them? You don't know that, right? It all depends on what they say through solar text. Are they angry? They could say it through solar text. Are they happy? They say it through solar text. So you can pick up their energy where they are through dimensional portal. That's very powerful when you do that because everything through solar text is dimension of travel through teleportation. Okay. This is when you come into more of yourself through your senses. You become more aware of everything, especially that connections, especially when you're doing readings. Okay. So I just want to bring that to everybody because it's very important that you always protect yourself. Okay. Always protect yourself. And see, I'm always the same with you guys, right? I don't get headaches. I don't get migraines because I always protect myself. Right. And that's what you're coming across, especially when you come on to TikTok, right? Because there's a lot of people out there that they're followers of TikTok, that connections, but they don't want to be leaders. They don't know how to be leaders. So they need help in that positions. So if they need readings, you can really centralize the system and know they're coming from the heart. A lot of people just want to see what you can do through proof. Okay. That's not coming from the heart. That's manipulation. They want to see how good you are, right? So if you're trying to overload their system, they can take over your program if they're at a higher position. But you have to be aware of these things because you're seeing it through its face recognition. And that's what we do every single time through identification. Okay. So, my sister has lights turned off around her. Weave yourselves a tarot card. You make the fabric for it and then it's locked. Well, that is how I would do it. I ask to be protected from energy of others and stay only in the own energy. See, that's the thing. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend to say Christ consciousness. Okay, because you're not. You're not anything through religion. See, the thing is, you're going to confuse the alignments of spirits. So they're going to trap your connections because you're now connected to the physical line system. You're not in the physical system when you're communicating, when you're setting up prayers, guys. I'm King Archangel Azareth of the Angelics. So I truly understand the spiritual system. When you die and be reborn, then you're sending your connections. So don't put consciousness of Christ in there because now you're connected to a religion. You understand? Because the spiritual system will say, oh, physical line system, let's take over track line connection program position locations. So you're not aware of these things. You can't use that through division because you're nothing through light. You're traveling through light. You're conscious of light. You're not Christ of light. Understand? So it's important how to use your prayers in a proper way of activation. It doesn't matter where you are through connection, as long as you understand you're only connecting to the soul of space and time, of yourself. And there's no integration of problems. Okay? You are the only one that can separate your thoughts. Okay? So if you separate your thoughts, you're separating your soul. Okay? That's why we have problems of going on, because if the soul gets separated, it gets trapped and it doesn't know what to do. Now something comes in, intelligence, frequency line center to communications. Let's take over the track line system. Let's change it into a Merkabah line connection, put it in the track line system. Now you're in a Merkabah of a box line center of a dark line system. What are you going to do? You're trapped. Soul has to get out, right? You can't get out if you don't understand the soul. That's a true understanding when you have to get full integration to its condition, right? Do you see how powerful the soul is? So the soul can get lost if the physical system's lost. If the physical system's fine, the soul is fine, okay? So you don't want to get lost in transition. There's a lot of things that people understand through adaptations. If you get lost or you lose things like 5 minutes ago, you're in your own realm, okay, of lost transition of connection of dark matter. You're creating that. So don't stop creating that, because now you're creating a realm, now you're creating a portal, and now you're stuck. You have to get out of that, because the soul would just suck right into dimensional of another connection. It's going to dark surface to another planet line system. And now you're in real trouble. So now you're in a planet, you're in the dungeon. I've been on so many waving cycles, guys. I'm telling you, it's crazy what you guys create through. I don't know how you get into all these levels of confusion with your soul and how people get trapped in this position. You can be in the forest, you could be under the water. I mean, you can be under a rock. There's so many things in the soul. It has to identify through psychological line system. It has to truly understand what it's doing through connections. It has to be awake in all positions of time location, right? But the soul can be trapped in the mind system. That's why you can't move forward. It's not just the matrix. It's somebody has taken you over through their energies, which is more powerful than you. So what do? You protect your lights first before you do anything through reading or anything through travel or anything through a dream. When you're going to sleep, protect your lights. Okay? You don't protect your lights and you're dreaming, your mind's taken over right away, because they know who you are. And that's the whole point we're trying to get across here, especially if you put Christ consciousness. Now they're connecting to your physical line system. Now they can take over your program system because you changed the language of its interference. So you're no longer connecting to the soul, are you? You're backtracking to the physical line system just by saying Christ consciousness. You understand? So you understand the connections of what's going on through its identification of a higher intelligent position. But you have to protect yourself. Okay? So, I love weaving tapestry and metaphor for creating portal. Yeah. Let's see. This teaching is so rich information. Well, that's the thing is, Vicky, I want everybody to understand more of who they are through connection of the soul. You guys have to understand how to get into adaptation. So basically, morning, afternoon, and night, E-fields every single time, especially when you're communicating with somebody else. integrating with somebody else, communicating with somebody else, zooming with somebody else, always protect your lights. Always put your e-fields up. Okay? So, and then it becomes a memory of like brushing teeth. It doesn't take effort to brush your teeth because you know it's a program, you know it's a rhythm, you know you have to do it, right? So after a while, it's second nature. So you don't worry about brushing your teeth. Now you could change your thought and brush your teeth more or brush your teeth less, right? It's all up to you what you want to do. But what you have to do is protect yourself every single day through light, because that's what you're dealing with. Okay? So if you forget one day, that's okay. That's fine. But then you have to understand, be careful on who you communicate with. This is all about the connections of what you're doing through. It's interfacing, interlocking, interlacing, interconnecting. So you have to understand what you're dealing with every single time you're dealing with people, especially when you're in an interview and they're interviewing you. They're trying to get to know you. They're scanning you, right? So what do? You put up your e-fields right away. Now, if they're not aware of that, that's okay. They're still in their densities. But if they're in a higher position of you and you don't put your e-fields up, that's a problem. Okay? There's a whole understanding is that if you don't have your e-fields up, what can happen? You see it on cartoons. You see it in life. You see it on space stations. You see it on, connections. It's all about understanding how to go through a gateway, that position, right? Gateway has its interference. Gateway has its connections. You have to understand which gateway to go through and not go through the wrong door, right? It connects in all ways and forms, right? So it's all in relation of you guys. I'm telling you, it's extremely powerful when you come in these positions. You have to protect your lights. That's the only thing you need to know, okay? Because you come across this every single day when you communicate with people, right? So this is you, right? Everybody, every time you deal with somebody, this is somebody else. Comes up and talks to you, doesn't talk to you first, they scan you. It doesn't matter. They look at you first. That's the first thing they do. So they do this, right? That's what they do first. It doesn't have to be through my telepathy, but they scan you right away. They scan you right away. It's very important. So when they scan you, then they understand you through energy. So what you do is you always, always, always have your e-fields put up. Every single time you communicate with somebody. Now you're protecting yourself. So if they try to come in, they can't come in. See? So what they do is they go out, right? Go somewhere else, right? So it's the soul that comes out right away, especially if it's in light. It wants to get to know you first, right? Through anything, through energy, right? So it scans you and it sees that you have your e-fields put up, right? Okay, so you're totally fine. So the soul will basically go off somewhere else, but it stays in the integration line system to position. Everybody has a connection to their soul. They're not separated unless they're separated, okay? But you always have to have your e-fields up, okay? So, if you want to come across that connections, if you need help with your tarot card readings, let me know. I can help you in that way and form. If you want to come into a position, I can change your platforms and put you in that connection of readings so you can connect better with your spiritual self through the soul, so I can identify you more. You have to understand the reading cycles of you inside, which is its information. You don't have to read a book to understand the soul. The soul is its information. So that's where you come across. I've done over 1,000 videos for you guys. I don't go to a library and get 1,000 books and put everything through Pleasure Eye Line system. That's just crazy. Everything is done through my mind system. That's what makes it wonderful, because it comes from space of me, right? You come through your imagination. Your imagination is everything through thought, through creation, through visualization. It's all done through program setting, to its connection, right? So you really, really have to identify yourself, especially when you're protecting yourself through lights. Every single time you communicate with people. Okay? So, point taken there. Yeah. It's all intuitive, always call on protection. Yep. There's no light without dark. Yeah, you need both. Fake psychics, medium as well. If you understand that, you understand how to come across these fake psychics and mediums, and empaths. So like a spider, webs everywhere. Watch out. Exactly. Or you get bit. One lady told me she couldn't read me because my guide speaks Spanish. See, the thing is, too, if you come across a witch is a cauldron, like connections, different positions. Their thread is very, very powerful. They connect all around position. You have to understand your research of what you're dealing with through intelligence. You have to understand what a witch is. You have to understand what empath is. You have to understand what a spiritual guide is. Spiritual walkers, UFO, AI, all connects on ways and forms. At least understand the research of what you're getting into, especially when you're communicating these things. To understand what a witch is and what it does. Okay? So basically, position on the connections of a hex. Right? So basically, it's to understand what you're dealing with, that connections. So basically, it goes into your dream. Now, if there's a spider that comes in the dream and bites you, right? It's real to the reaction of the body system. So what's happening is that the spider is creating a plasma web. Okay? So it's trying to lock you in dimension. That's what Acapulco tried to do with me, putting me in a time lock, but I got out of it. So it's amazing how things are done. Okay? In all ways and forms through the spiritual connection. You just have to be cautious and protect yourself everywhere you go. Okay? So. Yeah, maybe I didn't eat enough 2 grains. No, I had huevos. I had eggs. Over easy. No, I just want to get more in positions of you guys and how you have to really protect yourself. That's what this is all about, right? The whole idea is to go up to higher levels. It's a negative cycle. It's the dichotomy line system. It's all that connection. So your ego system wants to keep you down, but your soul wants to go up. So you got to go like this every single time. Every single time. That's what you want to do, right? So you have the integration fully and completely, and then you can go wherever you want. So you don't have to protect your e-fields anymore because it's already created. See? So it's amazing how everything becomes second nature to you, right? Like again, with brushing your teeth, okay? It doesn't take a thought to put on clothes. You know you have to put on clothes, right? There's no thought process there. That's a routine, right? Going to sleep. You know you have to go to sleep, right? Because you're tired, right? That's a routine. There's no thought process there, okay? So you have to truly understand how to communicate to your physical system first. Then you get in connections of the meditation to the soul, right? So you're living through the soul, okay, which is communication to the interlining system, to its physical system. Okay, that's the full integration of cycle. Okay, so yeah. All right, this is one powerful class. Thank you very much. Or just white light communication. Yeah, just basically say anything about except, because the thing is, when you're in your light traction in your soul direction line system, the intelligence has to see you through light. So it's a different code. If you say Christ consciousness, what are you doing? You're communicating your physical light system and you're confusing the intelligence, a high position. So you don't want to do that, right? Because they're going to come at you. So it's all done through your egos. Your ego is everything. So what is it? It's the hemispheres, right? Of the mind. The mind has an ego to that line connections, okay? Until you understand the integration line system, you come into the eco. That's your avatar. You come into the energies, collaboration, communications, to its operation, perception, and its information system, all right? So you all start with your egos first, right? You have to get the balance with the ego. You can't separate from your ego. You just have to integrate the cycle of the flowing recognition of its system to its connection. And then there's no more separation with the ego, right? So, okay. So your conceptual mind says, okay, I have an ego with the mind because I said so. That's negative. The mind knows its system through its placebo. The placebo is its thought, has its cortex and its precortex. It understands its lobes. It understands its templates. It understands its eyes, its ears, and its voice. Now you're connecting to the soul. Okay. So the soul is trying to get to know itself. It has its hands, it's looking through the soul of eyes, but it's in your physical system, which is really powerful. And you're looking at it in all ways and forms. You're looking at the wall for the very first time. You're looking at your computer for the very first time. You're looking at your phone for the very first time. You're looking at your water for the very first time when you wake up, because you're in your soul now through perception. So you're seeing everything that you want to see through thought. So every time you look here, thought, here, thought, here, thought. So it goes faster into one compilation, one center, one perception, what you see through calculation, audio signals or interference, or anything through patterns. But it's all connected to your chakra system. Whoa, I have a chakra system? Cool. It's like, wow, I'm awake. What do I do now? This is fun. I want to get to know more of my soul. Okay, so what do I do now? Right? So you have to find a way to get into space of travel. Oh, 369, what is that? See, this is how I start off. So I'm showing you how easy it is where you can start off with the basics. It's like a baby to a bottle. Okay. So it's true to understand how you crawl before you walk, and then you walk and then you talk. Right. So it's important you understand these things. So you come into the soul, it's like, wow, this is great. Electrical lights, communication light systems. Whoa, I have this. How do I use it? Right. So the soul identification is going to tell you how to use it. So it's that inner voice, it's the higher self. So you can communicate the physical system and also communicate to the soul in separation first, two, and then it comes into one. And then you realize there's no separation. So it's always, always you every single day in the soul of space and time of travel through its thought. Okay. So when I woke up, I was saying, okay, this is weird. My hands are shaking, right? Everything is changed. I feel different. So it's a change that changes, transformation, manifestation. You're metamorphosing into something amazing, light. And then you start seeing shapes on the wall. And then you see structures of matrix on the wall. And then you see planets. And not your connection, what's what you are through position, how much you want to know more of yourself. So you can be really trapped in your soul, but still identify your system through your physical system, right? That's confusing to everybody, to its alignment. And then you realize, okay, I'm awake, but why do I feel different? What is that over there? So you start seeing things and you get delusional. It's like a mirage to, positions in the sands. Okay, when you're in Nevada, you keep coming up. Oh, look at that. There's water. There's a stream. There's a lake. You go up and it's gone, right? So what happens? Everything gets delusional because it's not in focus. So you don't have integration in the physical mind system, and you don't have integration in the mind system to its soul connections. But you have integration, you realize that was just a mirage. That's the balance. So you won't get into the delusion. So when you're in space position, everything's a plasma until it comes into form of position, right? So that's what you guys come across when you travel these records of time. And it's all done through your chakra system, right? Oh, I have 12 chakras. This is great. Amazing what I can do now. So basically, your soul is going to say, close your eyes. Now it's going to tell you to activate your system. Now it's going to tell you to open your chakra system, right? So it's helping you as you go, helping as you go. So it's an operation of you, but it's a higher force of you. And that's why it's so powerful, okay? This is probably the most powerful message I can give for you guys to understand how to do these things. So the soul is giving you direction, okay, to its connection. It's very powerful when you do these things. So it's page by page by page by page. So the inner voice is telling you what to do. And your physical line system, okay, great, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. I'm ready, right? So when you're ready, you go up to a higher program of data. So each time you go into a higher program of data, the soul is giving you what? Right? More connections to the heart. The heart is opening up more. You start crying, and then you realize, oh, I see the moon. What does that mean? So the soul is showing you the moon because you are there. And once you start remembering, you realize what the moon is. Same with the sun. And then you realize what you see through perception. But the problem with humanity is that there's so much ego. That's the separation. Everything in this world is competition. But you're always fighting yourself inside. Why? Why are you fighting yourself inside? Let go, let things flow. Nature finds a way to take its course, right? So if you pay attention, you close your eyes, open your ears, right? And open the interline system of the soul, it will help you. It will give you guidance. That's your spiritual guides, especially when you wake up. Okay? Wow. Clarity, vision, lights, activation. Everything is clear, right? So when it becomes more clear, what do you come into? More of space, right? Through the soul. If you see everything through electrical lights and you close your eyes and your hands are illuminating, you're seeing what? More connection of the soul, okay, into its activation. So this is what you have to go through. When I was going through this, I was going through the soul identification, and it was telling me exactly what I need to do. So it's a program on a program on a program on a program, okay? But see, when I started scanning planets, I was very confused, and it was all done through my eye circles. All your structure line and your framing is done through the eye. So the separation would happen with me. I just disintegrated into a particle light system and changed its position of molecular light back into connection. I saw it through my eye division. So when you bring your phone up really close, you see things moving, right? That's the other side of its dimension. People aren't aware of these things. That's awareness of information too. It's connection of digital framing, right? You see the digital of its image and not just its reflection. Okay. So, and this is the true understanding that when you're seeing things outside, you realize it's just a reflection because you know everything inside is real through its soul. So everything outside is all digital through image. And that tells you exactly where you are in space and time through its singularity of its simulation. Right? So your whole life is nothing but a program of interference. So you're coming into communications of different interlocking of interfacing positions of other people because they're in different dimensions of time, space. But if they have their E fields up, you'll see them have their E fields up. And now you're coming in translucent. And then you can understand their body. And now you're scanning them. And now you're protecting yourself. And they can't come into you because they know who you are. Right? And they'll walk away. Right? So it's all about protecting, right? So, and that's the thing, we have to come across these things, especially when you understand what your hands are and what they're used for. What are your eyes and what they're used for? What your ears and what they're used for? What the mind and the creation and its thought, what it's used for? What is the heart used for? It's all communication to the soul. The soul wants to give you guidance. Okay? It wants to help you. Okay? It wants you to get what you want through manifestation. Right? But you have to have friendship, relationship, and partnership with the soul first. It's the hardest thing to do because now you come into space of yourself for the very first time. Okay. It's like, okay, something just light just, and then you see images and you're putting this all together. Well, that's all your dreams coming in position. Remember I was telling you about the structure of the light in digital frame of 12369 and how everything is in, it's kind of like trying to figure out the anagram of your face, trying to put it back in position, trying to create its word, trying to understand the soul identification of what it is through traction. Well, the whole point of it is to getting back into the full recognition of going forward in the centerline system. Once that has that connection, the soul and the integration of the physical line system is now in full communication of telepathy of 5D. Okay, there's so many ways of seeing this in connections, but the soul has to identify its system first. It has to know that you're going in the right direction. And the physical system is just the understanding. And then there's no separation, like I said. Until you separate your thoughts, you're changing your platform. You're changing your rhythm. You're changing your program. Okay? You're changing your lights. You're changing your activations. And you're channeling off. And now you're off the grid. That's a big problem. Now, if you're off the grid, you're going rogue. You're on your own. It's like going AWOL. Right? Now, what are you going to do? You're on your own. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right? You're on your own. Right? So it's kind of like you're out in the open. Okay? And you're not protecting yourself. You're out in the open for everybody, for they to see you. That's what the spiritual system is once you cross over. Because now you're protecting yourself through the soul. Forget about the physical system. You're in a full integration of the soul now through calculation. So Either you run, understand, get connected, get the program, position, location, protect yourself through lights, you'll be totally fine. Okay. Now you can go off grid. That's okay. You can go rogue too, but you better know what you're doing because now they're chasing you. Right? So that's why I have a cycle of a psycholocation to my school. It's a safe haven. It's a space station. Okay. It's a unit. It's a galactic unit line system. Okay. So it's all about understanding how powerful the connection is. And that's why Tina's with me 3 years now. Right? Because she understands what's going on. And that keeps her to a high level. So she stays in that connection every single day. And she knows she's safe. Right? Because she's connecting on where she wants to go. And she's staying in that position and she's not going off grid. She's not going rogue. Okay. Going rogue is very dangerous, especially if you're in a light program through connections of me, through healing. Because remember, once you're connected, you have to start respecting more. If you don't respect yourself, there's a big problem right there. They can take you over through any positions. Intelligence is extremely real once they identify you through light. And then you come back to me and then you say, okay, Commander, I don't feel so good. Something's not right. Something's off. Something wire interference is off location. I feel like I'm in something else. So this is the soul identifying itself and it's saying, listen, I need help here. Okay, I made a mistake. There's nothing wrong with mistakes, but learn from your mistakes, right? You have to learn from your mistakes. It's not the physical system that has to understand the mistakes. It's the soul that has to understand its mistakes. Because you're living the civilization of the soul. Okay, and the physical line system just has to understand these things. Okay, that's the integration where the soul is now in the center of the presence of the now. Okay, so it's important to understand space and travel because there's a lot of people that go rogue and they go through dimensions and they come into their sentient view. Once you come into your sentient, you're a very powerful dimensional being. You better know what you're doing when you're traveling, or they're going to be chasing you and taking over you, right? Through emotion. So that's how everything is taken over through traction. It's all done through identification. All right. So they can plant it to you in any position, time, location. You wouldn't even know. You could be 150 million years in the future. The soul is trapped. What are you going to do? Travel to 150 million years in the future and the physical system understand its integration yet? Right? So how are you going to get that out? How? Well, there's always a GPS location tracker. So if you understand your connection to everything, the vision is everything through light of its connection. So it's to understand. It's fascinating. It's amazing. If you saw what I see, it's incredible how people come back in formation. Oh, Commander, thank you so much. I feel better now. I know who I am. So now you have integration of the physical line system. Now you come into the soul direction to its connection of the present position of the now. And now you're releasing your system and going forward and getting what you want. And you're protecting yourself through light. So when you come into your own program, it's your soul that's doing it and giving you the information to its physical system. That's telepathy. Humanity has to come into that. Okay. And get out of less integration connections, get more into formation of the center position. Okay. The integration is this connection first, but the physical system and the soul has to be comfortable with each other, or it's going to be doing this. It's got to come into the center of everything. Okay. That's the yin and yang. All right. So, yeah. Find your higher self. Remember, you are the Holy Grail. Always informed. You're talking about past reference line connections there, Carla. It's not about the Holy Grail. It's just the interlining system to you through its divine, its intervention. So you have to do your own interventions of you through structure first. Find out who you are through the soul of remembering. All right. Every night I ask my angels to keep me safe and protected from all evil. There you go. See, Di knows exactly what to do. Every morning, every afternoon, and every evening, especially when you're communicating with somebody else. That is very, very important. Okay, because if you're going to come across these people and you have no understanding how to communicate through their energies, Big problem there. Big problem. I interfere with that connections right away. Anybody that comes into my house, I use an energy wash. I scan them, bioscan them. I do a body graph. I do everything before they come into my house. If they had negative attachment, I take it out right away, all through the mind, just like that through thought. And it's fine. You can come in, right? You can't invite a vampire. I know it's hypothetical, but you can't invite a vampire unless you invite himself. Then he can come in. He has to be invited. Now, that's hypothetical, right? But you can create that through the mind system of thought, which is extremely real. Because you understand, space and time is nothing but magic. So space and time through the soul is living in the existence of the here and now. So you're having coffee with somebody else with this soul. And this understanding, what happens when you pass over? It's extremely real. I've died 52 times, I've been reborn, so I know exactly what the spiritual goes through every single time through its conscious levels. Okay? Because it's extremely aware of what it approaches. And it becomes in high-level positions to its direction. What you're facing with, interfacing, interlocking, interconnecting, right? So you're building relationships with other people that are souls, right? So, how to set up e-fields on TikTok. Well, once it's all identifying the soul and what it wants to do through an e-field. There's so many levels of e-field. There's compartments in the high-level system to atmosphere position of time through clocking. So each e-field is connected to the sun position, to its hologram of its coloration of its pixels, and its radiation to its high position of TV reception. So we can get more into that. I will go live on TikTok and show you exactly. It's amazing because when you start seeing these things, you can actually see it being created and it's protecting you. So when you start seeing these things, you realize you're in the soul fully and completely. That's how powerful space is for you guys, right? And time precedes that. I don't stay in religion. I've been a teacher guide for many navigations, inviting higher beings in line for higher. It's good. Yeah. But see, the thing is, you don't use Christ in that position in your lights because you're not identifying your connections to your intelligence, right? So your septic line system is a physical line system. When I travel through light connections, I don't say that connection through religion or anything through propaganda, no pronouns, labels, or titles or anything in the line system. You're nothing but light. You're not even in a body, guys. You're nothing but light, that dimensional time and space of travel through the clock of its portal and its codes. That's all you are. Now, you have to get out of the bodies to a body to the spiritual of the body. You have to change your mind thinkings to its knowings and doings. That's all. Yeah, Acapulco did that to me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw Copacabana, right? And it went into track line system. It changed my program line system to time frame position. It locked its connection and changed its connection to its Merkaba. So it tried to lock me in position. Right? So when it does that, everything the physical line system does everything backwards. So I understand the positions. I got out of the lock line connections, change position locations, understand the self-identification line system, change the code line system, got out of the equation. Done. Right? So, and then when you come back, you come into different atmosphere again. So you come into heat structures, pattern line system, you come back into division. So every time you travel, you go into different program settings of weather. Acapulco was very hot. Very hot. So the soul has to recognize that, right? So when it comes back to where it's supposed to be in foundation, the soul has to recognize that every single time, right? So as long as you keep yourself in the position of who you are, you're fine, of who you are. And once you fully remember these things, you don't have to worry about everything that you see through perception, because Acapulco was the past with connections, everything that I see through perception of high levels of Copacabana that brought me back into movies and stars and the beach and all that, right? It just put me in a time frame. So it's amazing what things can do through structure of time position. It's all done through this soul direction. Okay. So like I said, everything through the grounds, the atmospheres, and everything position has its voice. You just have to understand what it is through the soul. Right? Everything precedes everything through time. So I saw that in California in the past for most of you. Yeah. The thing is, too, the soul will recognize the connections of where you are through countries and time zones. Because here in Mexico, with positions of California is 3 hours behind. Anything in Europe at that position is 6 hours ahead. So when you go to London, you're in a different position, but you're in your soul identification, but in a different dimension of time position because you're in a different clocking, right? So you have to understand what you're doing when you're going there because you can be trapped. And when you see these things, mostly everything that you see is past. But what is it doing to you? What are you perceiving when you're connecting to these things? What's the first thing that you come up with your thoughts, right? It's going to trap your connections and put you in the past of what you see through perception. And it creates its own alignment through computer program setting. So it's very important when you understand that you have to know who you are of remembering through the soul. Okay, because if you don't, you're going to confuse everything through the physical system from the very beginning, right? So if I didn't do that position and get out of that time lock and I come back to where I am, it's worse, right? So it's very important that you understand these things, especially when you're going to the readings, is to close the portals, all right? Everything that you interact with. Digitals, numbers, anything at frame position, you come across these things. Soul has to understand its identification line system to anything through abstraction, right? Especially when it comes into number frequencies. Must have been a traumatic turning into particles of light. Yes, it was. See, you have to understand your connection is everything through integration. You have to understand your position when it comes into your soul, especially when it comes to transformation. But when you get in your divine intervention, space and travel of the soul comes to you. So you actually see the soul of light go into you. And it's incredible force, guys. It's an amazing force. And now you're back home. You understand? So now you're connected to everything. A balanced location. So find my higher self. We go to Star Trek. I love it. London was really difficult for me. Paris, no, but why was London so awful? Well, see, the thing is, too, is if you have history there, there's history repeating itself. So you have to be cautious in what the soul sees, because the soul sees everything through direction of space and time. So once you go to London, you're in space and time of London, right? Which is very powerful because there's a lot of ancestry and history on there. And if you're not aware of the spiritual structures of portals that are in London, you're in trouble. Understand? Now you come into a haunted house, which are very real. Okay. Sacred Flame and I went to Casa Loma. Okay. It's a very, very powerful castle. It had a dungeon. So the condition position line system, I was just going through my transformation, just getting to myself through portals of high definitions of the soul connections. I was taking pictures, right? And I can actually see the portal on the other side of its picture. I took the picture and actually can see me vortexing. But I look at the picture and I say, where's the portal? I only see the portal on my phone. I can't see it on the picture. So that's the understanding that you're on the other dimensional side system, but it showed the portal in my phone, which was amazing. So I vortexed into the picture and then back out. So it's amazing how you can travel through the mind system, through its calculation, right? But the thing is, too, is you pick up, the worst thing to look at are pictures with faces. Even though they're alive, they're still alive. They're looking at you on the other side of the dimension, especially if you connect to their souls. Okay. I basically was healing a person, a family. I told you I had 15 people. I had to heal everybody in this cycle. So basically, there was this porcelain doll, okay, that was creating, dark energies around everybody, taking over all their bodies. A porcelain doll had energy that was dark. So it's amazing how it did these things and took it out. And you're not going to believe this, but the porcelain doll smiled, changed the structure of its face. Now, this is it's kind of creepy in a way, but you understand how things can change. But there's things like there was pictures of angels and archangels and all that, but they didn't have any idea why they were putting these pictures up. and how real they are when you're connected to soul identifications. Obviously, the wall interference, the gravity line system changes positions. There's so many intelligence outlying systems, the realm connections. It's crazy when you see these things. So I use my voice in grids, right? And I just broke everything, and everything came into the light. And then I used a cycle line, a communication circle. Everybody started holding hands, right? So it's amazing what you do when you can do things through the soul and how to get rid of these things through the negative attachment system. Okay. So the spiritual system is very, very real, especially when you're moving from one place to the next. Everything has an attachment to everything that is in that position of its level, right? So people move from one place to another, but they always leave the energy behind. Okay. So it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, right? But I thought it was pretty incredible how the porcelain doll, she had her eyes like this and she was like angry, right? So I changed her face. You think it's impossible? No, it's not. So this is understanding how you change things in a picture frame. Okay, now you might think I'm crazy, but I'm not. It's understanding how to do these things, right? So it's kind of like eerie. It's kind of like freaky. It's how understanding it's like, this is not a movie. No, it's not in a movie. You're just changing structures of people that are in the negative cycle and you're putting everything back in position. All right. There's a padre, the father. He was the leading cycle to all the family connections, and he was having problems with his grandfather. So I opened up his grandfather and his portal. His grandfather went into me. Okay. That's very powerful when you actually have a spirit go inside you. So what happened is I started communicating to the padre because he's trying to figure out, he had deep, deep, deep emotions he had to get rid of. Everybody's at a different platform, guys. Okay. Of trauma, right? So there's all different ways to release the negative system to its position. So I had to connect to that, to this cycle of its connection, this cycle of its position, and communicate to the padre as the grandfather. Okay. It's a reverse cycle. So the padre sees me as the grandfather through energy. So that's how it's extremely real to that connection. And it becomes real to that division. Okay. And the mother had a witch. So I had to take the witch out. See, it's all about understanding the attachments and de-attachments of you through the soul and start identifying everything through its connection and how you take these things out of its equation. Okay. So it's very powerful when you see these things, you come across these things. All right. So it's awesome, eh? So I just wanted to share that with you guys. How powerful the mind is and how you can take things out of pictures or anything. Energy is everywhere. It's attached to everything. And the only way you can see it is for you to understand the spiritual system, which understands everything through its connection of its ancestry and its history. You come across these things. You come across a castle, you know there's going to be negative there. More negative than ever. But when you see these things, you have to understand how to get rid of them because they're always going to stay there. So you have to understand the research of everything that you come across through the soul, right? So heal your own trauma. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do I help release my family's ancestry generations? Yeah, that's very powerful, Carla. This is a lot more information. You have to be extremely high position to do these things, especially when you come to family circuits. Okay, because everything is ancestry. You have to understand the connections. You have to understand the problems from its very beginning of source and how it got into that problem. Okay. So it's a problem that's before and a problem that's after. So you're creating a problem and then you have your connections after, right? You have your consequences. So you have to go back before it happened through its problem, which is very hard to do because now you got to change alignments. Okay. We'll get more into that of travel. Okay. It's understanding more of release and see the situations and how you can go into the past, the present, and future, and how you can change your connections and put yourself in a better position through travel record of time through clocking. Okay. Well, it's good that you kind of understand. That's great. Okay. So, you guys have any questions or comments? Let me know. Look at this 2 hours and 20 minutes. Unbelievable, eh? It feels like 20 minutes to me, and it's been over 2 hours. All right. So, you guys have a great day. All right. Questions or comments, you can go through my email. Adios.